Thank you, Rahul, and I sincerely thank Bansi sir and Sanjay Agarwal and team. Of course, we are part of the team, including Dr. Vikas sir, who's sitting here, and Sujay, for making us to meet physically, and that warmth all of us are feeling. I'm sure all of you are enjoying. After Sujay's technology usage in diagnosis, let's move on to the technology usage in the therapeutics department. So in this field, now this is something called as a laser technology, and what is it there as a treating physician in our routine clinical practice? That is what I'm going to talk. This is going to be my agenda, where initially I'll talk about the challenges with this immediate release formulations and its implications on the non-adherence, and of course laser osmo technology with some evidences. We know the immediate release dosage preparations have got limitations in the form of the frequency, the side effect profile, and of course ultimately eventually resulting in the poor adherence. So recently there is a focus on this development of this controlled release drug delivery systems, and these existing drugs exhibit certain pharmacokinetic limitations. So these controlled drug delivery systems are capable of literally controlling the rate of this drug delivery. That's Cmax, which is controlled, and sustaining the duration of therapeutic activity with lesser incidence of adverse events. And that's what we are looking at today. So though there are various technologies are used in these drug formulations to control this rate of delivery, but there are limitations in this particular technology, which I'm going to allude in next couple of slides. So this is one of the limitations we have, because there's the unpredictable plasma concentrations, interference with the drug release, the pH, and along with the food also intake, and increased side effect profile. So these different technologies which are conventionally used have got these limitations in these controlled release formulations. So what is the implication of the poor adherence in diabetes? What we see in practice, look at this adherence to various therapies results in that 62% of the times the patients do not take tablet in relation to the food. 20% of them regularly forget to take their tablets. 5% of them omit tablets due to high blood glucose, and 2% of course when it is too low. So this is the common problems we encounter in our routine practice, and this is the biggest task. Though we prescribe the proper combinations, all that, patients do not adhere to the therapy. And as you increase your number of frequency of tablets from 1, 2, and 3, look at the adherence rate, how it drops from about 80% to 40% from one single daily preparation to 3 times daily. So this is something, a biggest task, which none of us do inquire to our patients in our routine practice. And look at this slide, which talks about the different drug classes and the treatment adherence. Sulfonylurea, DPP-4, TZDs, GLP-1s, literally none of them cross above 50%. And this is in practice, and these are all documented evidences. And the PDC, what we call the proportion of days the patients have possesses those drugs, itself is less than 50% across any of the class of these drugs. Now, particularly, let us look at metformin and its challenges. We know the GI is the main culprit, where metformin prevention in following this adherence for the patient, that is the main hindrance to the patients. So we can see diarrhea, heartburn, nausea, etc. with various proportions, and this is the biggest task we see. Literally up to 70% of the patients report at least one tolerability issue with respect to the metformin usage, and 62% of them suffer with these GI side effects of metformin, which eventually results in difficulty in uptitration, because 1 gram PD is something which I use very, very commonly in our patients, but the problem with the IR preparations is their GI intolerance, they come back, results in poor adherence, and of course poor glycemic control and complications. Now look at this evidence about 17 lakh patients, wherein they analyzed from 48 clinical studies, which includes both oral and injectable therapy. 30% of the metformin doses were not taken by these patients when they were prescribed. So patients with diabetes on metformin were least likely to take the required dosages compared to patients with diabetes in any other class of drug. Now that is something, a strong statement with respect to the metformin. Literally 30% of the metformin doses were not taken by the patients when they were prescribed. So this non-adherence eventually leads on to the inadequate glycemic control, increased morbidity, mortalities, and of course increased cost, that is the indirect cost of visits to the emergency departments or the outpatient care and hospitalization, especially ICU admissions, etc. So at least 45% of the diabetic patients fail to achieve adequate glycemic control in general. And added to that, if we have this non-adherence concept and look at the consequences which our patients might face, and these are some of the numbers just to show you with poor adherence, what are the complications. Literally 40% of overall mortality or CV or all-cause hospitalization will worsen, and the microvascular complications can enhance up to 80 to 90% with respect to nephro or retinopathies. But important, this National Health and Wellness Survey of about 1,000 plus patients showed that each 1 point drop in self-reported medication adherence was associated with worsening of A1C, physician visits, ER visits, and hospital visits. These are all the evidence what we are discussing, that each 1% drop, we always talk about improvement, but look at the drop because of the medication adherence, and this is what eventually patients will end up with. And this is another evidence which talks about impact of non-adherence on mortality outcomes, and it very, very clearly shows there is a significant association of 1.6-fold increase in all-cause mortality. And the most important slide, according to me, is this, which talks about whenever you improve the medication adherence, each 10% increase in compliance can reduce A1C by 0.1%. And look at the last statement, the high level of adherence is as effective as addition of second OHA. And this is what most of us fail to do in our routine practice. Please spend some time to talk about the adherence part to our patients so that you can control their sugars with not adding or escalating or adding another class of drug. Now let us move on. What is the solution technology can give us? And this is something, laser technology, which is the first time in India, research for diabetes care, which is osmosis-mediated oral drug delivery system technology. And to overcome these challenges of extended release, this osmosis technology is being used. Now what does this offer? It offers a drug release independent of mortality, pH, or food interference, provides a delivery rate of 0 order, that means a constant release of the drug. Delivery may be delayed or pulsed if required. We can titrate or manipulate according to our needs. It can achieve higher and predictable release rates, and high degree of in vivo and in vitro correlation can be done. The PKPD studies have been shown that. Now, how does this work? So look at this photograph. This is a tablet of both glimepiride and metformin. The outermost coverage is the overcoat of glimepiride, which gets immediate released whenever it comes in contact with the GI fluid. And the bottom one, red one, is the swellable push layer, which pushes this white colored or blue colored metformin through a laser drilled hole, which is very, very minute. And this is where the cost of the technology comes. And luckily, this cost is not transferred to our patients. And through this osmosis technology, this swell layer pushes this metformin, and through the small hole, which if you can see here, the drug is released at a controlled rate. Now, currently, the extended release formulations have been utilizing these various technologies, but they definitely have different clinical outcomes. So this innovative osmo laser technology has been incorporated into this combination drug of glimepiride and metformin for achieving a prolonged and a sustained glycemic control to overcome or to minimize this GI intolerance. So essentially, this osmo technology gives us a predictable drug release, sustained plasma concentration for prolonged periods, 30% lower Cmax. That means the drug exposure to the patient is lesser. At a lesser level of drug levels, you get a better outcomes, and there is no dose dumping as well. So it gives a lesser GI intolerance, smoother uptitration when you want to uptitrate from 500, 850 to 1000, and of course prolonged glycemic control, eventually resulting in improved adherence and lesser complications. And that's what most of our target when we want to treat our patients. Now, this is another evidence which I'm going to show, a review article done by our own people, Rajesh Rajput, KMP sir, Ekeda sir, Zargar, all these big names have done this study where its impact on diabetes care they have published. And this is what is the main points which I have talked about in this review article, that osmotic controlled release oral delivery system is the most promising strategy-based system for sustained delivery of drug. And this technology appears to be promising solution for the limitations of conventional extended release formulations by virtue of their distinguished technological features. And this novel osmo technology offers distinct clinical advantages to the patients with diabetics by ensuring predictable therapeutic plasma concentration, resulting in lesser side effects and prolonged duration of action, improving eventually the medication adherence. So this is being applied to the vildagliptin also. I'm sure all of you would have been aware by this time. Even the innovator now, after seeing our advancement in technology, the innovator is also bringing down this sustained release formulation. And of course, you know the position statement of vildagliptin, literally mono, dual or triple therapy, you can use it. And of course, generally well tolerated with less hypoglycemia and weight neutral qualities has definitely made us, and of course off patency also has come out, but the only disadvantage, it is a BID dosage, which all of us know. And by, of course, the non-adherence, we know because of the BID, these are the cost implications and emergency room visits, hospitalizations, etc. we discussed earlier. And by incorporating this Osmo laser technology into vildagliptin 100 mg, we have definitely advantages. And first time, I think vildagliptin 100 mg SR with this Osmo tablet, it has been done. And what is the evidence for this? The PKPD studies have clearly shown it achieves 80% and more of DPP-4 inhibition for continuous 23 minutes with just a once a tablet. And you can see in this slide, it has been compared with the innovator, the molecule, and with the BID dosage of innovator and the vildagliptin of sustained release have been compared with the PKPD add-on studies, and it has shown the A1C level with one tablet is equivalent to that of 2 tablets per day. So there is a reduced pill burden and better compliance of the patient and better adherence. And also, as I talked about, the drug exposure with the lower Cmax, 30% lesser Cmax is seen, and this sustained plasma concentration with the lower Cmax has given more than 80% DPP-4 inhibition. Again, makes it a good drug with a once a dosage preparation with improved safety profile. And this is a pharmacokinetic advantage what we see. As you can see here with a single dose, multiple dose, both the arms with ILDA IR, that is immediate release 50 mg, immediate release 100 mg compared to the SR release. And you can see the numbers are very, very less. That means they have a better or a lesser drug exposure and better outcomes. Of course, the innovator molecule, when they tried 100 mg in the initial phases about 10-15 years back, they had the hepatic enzymes were very high. That is why they did not do the trials of OD preparations of the innovator molecule. But here also, there was seen the LFT raised, but it was not, the 3 times upper limit was not reached. There were adverse events even in this study, the PK studies, but it was not 3 times upper limit. So hence it was accepted, and DCJ has given us a permission to use this. So this vildagliptin 50 mg, now that is the technology is applied to 50 mg also in a special populations like patients who are on sulfonylureas or CKD patients with EGFR between 30-60, we can definitely use this 50 mg. And again, vilda 50 mg OD has given maximal DPP-4 inhibition for 12 hours, and this definitely results in submaximal trough for DPP-4 inhibition before the next day dose. And 50 mg once daily vilda are deprived of this prolonged DPP-4 inhibition, and that has been again translated by this Osmo technology. And this is the evidence what it's been submitted to DCJ also and given approval that it achieves prolonged DPP-4 inhibition in special populations requiring lower doses. So 50 mg OD is also an advantage for this special population. So to summarize, Osmo laser technology is the most promising strategy-based system for sustained delivery of drug. And this technology appears to be a promising solution for the limitations what we use in conventional extended release formulations. Lesser GI side effects makes this Osmo laser technology to have a beneficial role in improvement of patient adherence to metformin therapy in particular. That's the commonest drug which we use in our practice. And vilda 100 and 50 mg once daily definitely reduces drug exposure with a lower Cmax, improved safety profile, lesser pill burden, lesser drug exposure makes this molecule very attractive for in our routine practice. And A1C with one tablet, if the HbA1c is reduced, the pill burden comes down, the compliance and of course the economics when we translate again works out cheaper. And at par or better 24 hours DPP-4 inhibition for effective glycemic control with OD vildagliptin is seen. And this 50 mg SR is also beneficial in the special populations which we discussed. Thank you very much for patient hearing.